find the surface area and volume. 9 centimeter and 6 centimeter length are shown. That's 6 centimeter length across the circle through the center. How would we call that? It's not the radius, it's the diameter. Diameter is 6 centimeters. So what would the radius be? The 9 centimeter length, how would we call that? Is it the height or the slant height?
The height.
The height, because it's the perpendicular distance from the top through the cone straight to the bottom. Let's do surface area. Surface area, using the notes over on the board here for a cone, is pi times r times slant height L plus pi times the radius squared for the circular base. Pi r squared tells you the area of the circular base on bottom, that bottom of the cone. Pi r L tells you the surface area of the part that wraps around the cone. So when I add them together, it's the total surface area of the entire figure. Let's see, I've got the radius. I know r is 3 centimeters. What am I missing so far? I can't quite find the surface area until I know what first. Slant height. How can I find the slant height though, Adrian? Pythagorean's theorem. 3 squared plus 9 squared equals our slant height L squared. Cut a right triangle into the cone. Now we can use Pythagoreans. 3 squared to bring down 9. 9 squared to bring down 81. 9 and 81 make 90. 90 equals the slant height squared. Solve by square roots. Simplify root 90. Don't think it's a perfect square. 9 and 10, but what's the square root of 9? 3, so this should be 3 radical 10. Let's see what we got here. Pi times the radius of 3 times 3 square root of 10 plus pi times 3, so a lot of 3's. All right, let's pay attention to how we're going to answer this. I want to get this in exact form. There's 4 numbers to multiply together here. Pi times 3 times 3 times square root of 10. But I only argue I'm going to multiply 2 of them together. Which 2? Which 2 can I multiply together here in this course? Say it the 3 and 3. Pi is irrational. It's some non-repeating, never-ending decimal. Same thing with radical 10. You type it into a calculator, use its decimal form, you're going to have to round somewhere. I want to get the exact value. So let's just multiply the 2 whole numbers. What's 3 times 3? Yeah. Let's call that 9 pi square roots of 10. 3 times 3 make 9. The rest I'm going to leave in terms of my answer. Pi and root 10. Come to the next version here. Pi times 3 squared. Cover up the pi, just like I covered it up earlier. What's 3 squared? So plus 9 pi. Can I combine those together any further? Are they in both like terms? Yes. This one has pi and square root of 10. This one has pi. It's missing what? 10. So are they in like terms? This is 9 of pi root 10s.
Yeah.
This is 9 of pi. You can't combine those any further because this one doesn't have everything the other term does. So I think this should be our final answer. Square 7. I cannot combine these further and make 18 pi root 10s because this has the root 10 and the next term does not. It's weird. That's the answer.
That's weird.
And to simplify it as much as you can. I want to leave it in its fully exact form. So I have to leave it in terms of pi and the radical. The pi is going to be a little easier. For a cone, the volume is 1/3 pi r squared h. Do this one, please. I'll leave you guys this one to figure out first. 1/3 pi times r squared times h. What's the radius?
3.
What's the height?
9.
Plug those in and simplify as much as you can, please. All right, let's do it. Volume is 1/3 pi times the radius of 3 squared times the height of 9. Let's start simplifying this as much as we can. Cover up the pi, multiply everything else. What operation says take 3 squared first? Guess what's 3 squared?
9.
What's 9 times this 9?
80.
So I'm going to bring down 1/3 of 81 pi. Nine times 9 times pi is 81 pi. Now multiply these together. What's 1/3 of 81? I think it divides in evenly. I can write this as a whole number, 1/3 of 81. 27, so 27 pi cubic units. 27 pi cubic centimeters.
Wait till I'm in the grocery store doing my taxes and something to answer my taxes. 27 pi.
27 pies.
This is so
Let's try one more. How is this question different? I wrote one over here to the left for us to try one more.
Gus Rosner, report to the secondary office. Gus Rosner, please report to the secondary office.
All right. Probably one more time. Say that out loud before we got interrupted.
We aren't finding the volume, we're finding the height of the gun.
Okay, so you're saying we're given the volume to find the height and work backwards, right?
Which one should that
This one to the left. I just wrote it off to the side here. I want to do mine. I read this out loud. Crowley's saying we have the volume. The volume is 84 pi. Look at this cone. I know the radius. It's 6. What's the height? Yep. We have to work backwards and take the volume to find one of its dimensions. What's the missing height of the figure of the cone? What formula can I use to put this all together? What's the formula for the volume of a cone? Okay. So now we just plug in what we have and solve for what we need. I can replace the volume, 84 pi. What's the radius equal to? So 6 squared. trying to find the missing height h, so let's just leave that as h and solve this equation for that missing length, the height of the cone. Here's my equation I have to solve. 84 pi equals 1/3 pi times 6 squared times h. What are your thoughts? How could I solve for the height? What do you want to do first, Shayla? What's the different things we can do to get started? I've got this equation here. Trying to solve for h, the height of the cone. So I have to find. I'll multiply by 1/3, so I wouldn't subtract. Dividing by 1/3 would be the same thing as multiplying by 3. I could multiply each side times 3 to cancel out the 1/3. That wasn't quite what I was thinking. In terms of order operations, how could I simplify this first, Shayla? So 6 squared would be 36. Let's bring this down. 84 pi equals 1/3 pi times 36 times the height h. Keep simplifying this right-hand side. Shayla, what did I do next? What's 1/3 of 36? Imagine that the pi is not there. Multiply everything else. What's 1/3 of 36? 36 divided by 3. 12.
It is 12.
It is 12. Combine those two, I'll get 12 pi times h. H times 12 pi equals 84 pi as I was working through this equation so far. How would I solve for the missing height? Finish this up.
You probably have to subtract.
But I'm multiplying by Charlotte. To get rid of multiplying by 12 pi, I can divide by 12 pi. What's 84 divided by 12?
It's 7.
7 pi. But the pi's cancel out those.
That's true.
Can you imagine? The height would be 7 inches. Knowing the radius and volume, I'll work backwards to find the missing height. 7 inches. All right, let's do some practice on con. Once you get your laptop out, we'll try some work on con.